Greetings everyone and welcome to the course Introduction to Data Analysis and Visualization with Python. My name is Muhammad Sadullah. I will be guiding you through this course and help you learn some of the fundamentals of data analysis tools using Python and its libraries. This course will guide you towards the right direction to data science by showing you the tools and their uses. This is a beginner's level course for anyone trying to learn about some fundamental techniques used in data science, or just intrigued to develop further Python skills and learning how to use some of the best Python libraries. It is for people who are interested in learning about machine learning, because even though this course does not offer a lot about machine learning, but it does set up a fundamental base, because machine learning is all about data manipulation and dealing with large sets of data. Even though this course is a beginner's level course, it is a beginner's level course to data sciences and data analysis and visualization, and so there are a few prerequisites, and it is recommended that you have some basic knowledge of Python programming language before starting this course, such as loops, functions, data types, strings, lists, and so on. What you see right now is a very short summary of an overall course, and so there are two libraries that are the most important for the manipulation of data. The first one is Numpy Library, the Python Numpy Library. It is a numerical library consisting of several data structures like multi-dimensional array and matrix data structures, capable of more advanced and fast calculations of numerical data, as well as better representation of data for faster calculations and huge operations on large sets of data. We will learn how to use this library, create better arrays, and learn how to use them and operate high-level mathematical operations within just a few lines of code. More on that later. Then we will move on to the second library covered in this course, the Pandas Python library, which is just an amazing tool in itself. Pandas is the core data manipulation and analysis tool, performing operations of large numerical tables, make fast and efficient data objects from huge data files, data frames, and so on. And remember, data analysis is essentially playing with the data in creative ways. So if right now you feel like some of the words are complicated, don't worry, we will cover them soon enough. So let's get started up on the Workspace. We will be using Google Colab throughout this course. This is the syllabus of the course, and it may change in the process of making the videos. Well, as we can see right now, we are on part A, the first week of the course. Introduction to the course revision of Python types and sequences. This is a very brief summarization, because this course assumes that you have a basic knowledge of Python beforehand, before starting this course. And so, let's get started. Now, before getting into a data analysis part though, let's quickly revise and summarize some of the base Python components that you may already know of, as these parts of this Python base are going to be very frequently used in the process of data analysis. If you know this already, you may skip this part, but I recommend that you watch it, as it is just a very short summary of Python language and its syntax. I will cover two short things here, functions and data types, as these two things are very important. So let's start with functions. A function is a set of instructions and acts as a process on a given data, known as parameters. Let's take a look at some basic functions. We define a function by starting off and using the keyword def, and then followed by the name, and then in parentheses we add the parameters, a colon, and then the body of the function. So let's make another function. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna make a function that basically takes in name and email as string and age as integer, and with the help of a simple conditional statement, it can tell you whether or not you're eligible based on your age. This is also a very simple function just to show some of the properties. So let's run this function. So as we can see, a function can have many parameters and the values of the parameters can be any data type. A string, integer, list, boolean, or even function itself can be used as a parameter. Well, more on that later. The reason why functions are revised here is that in one of the future videos, an unconventional form of functions called the lambda expressions will be used, and to understand those, it is better to know about simple functions. We can see how functions can be used to create fun tasks, and combining these functions in a creative way makes it possible to create clever tasks. You can refresh functions in Python by reading further from the documentation at docs.python.org/3/library/datatypes.html. I will make sure to link this in the description. Moving forward, let's now discuss Python types and sequences. Python is a dynamically typed language, meaning variable types don't need to be declared when making a variable. But it does not mean that Python does not have data types and recognition. Actually, Python consists of well-inbuilt properties for different kinds of primitive and non-primitive data. These data types include the primitive string, integer, float, and boolean, and Python sequences type data structures such as lists, tuple, and dictionary. Let's discuss quickly about the important data structures which we are going to be using and manipulating through the course. Let's start off with lists. A list is a Python sequence data type and acts quite similar to an array. To make a list, we use square brackets. Unlike languages with compilers, Python lists do not need to be specified about the primitive data type they are going to contain. And we can basically add integers, strings, boolean together in a single list, including lists themselves in the list. More on that later. There are several operations that can be performed on a list. Let's start with editing a list first. First of all, to add an item to a list, we can use the append method. We can delete an item by using the index, which starts from 0, by the way. For example, here 2 is at the 0 index, 3 is at the 1 index, and so on. We can use this index to delete and get a value from a list. For example, notice what happened is that the third item 0, 1, 2, and 3. The third item has been taken out of the list. However, right now we can only see the item hello and not the list. This is because the method pop basically takes the item and shows it here, right? But in the original list, this item has been deleted. So let's go ahead and print X now. Now you can see that the item string hello has been removed from the list X. Another fact is that a list in Python is iterable, which means we can basically loop through items in list. So let's look at a few operations we can perform on a list. Adding two lists together basically joins them. That basically merges the list together and adds all the items in the second list in the first one. The multiplication function, or the asterisk, basically repeats the values by the times you multiply it with. And so if I run this, there will be 3 values of 2. This has been an introduction to the course and a very brief summarization of the Python functions and sequences. Before moving on to the next video, where we actually start a little bit of data analyzation and reading and writing from CSV files and some advanced Python concepts in detail, such as the lambda expressions, I would recommend that you read about the Python sequences, and their details can be found on this website, which I will mention in the link below. And so that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.